Hi everyone, welcome to Learn for Exam. In this video, we will be talking about 15 questions on ratio, proportion and variation. So let's start. Okay, let's move on to the first question then. The ratio of ages of A and B is equal to 2:5 and that of B and C is equal to 3:4. We need to find out what is the ratio between the ages of A, B and C. Please pause the video if you want to and solve it out and then continue to see the recording, to see the solution. Sorry. Right, let's start then. Okay, the ratio of ages of A and B is 2:5, right? So let me write that down. A is to B is given as 2:5 and it's also given that B is to C is equal to 3:4, right? So what we essentially do is whatever common ratio we have, we multiply that to find out the complete ratio of the three people, right? So multiply the common ratio, that is multiply the numbers for B. So if you multiply 5 and 3, I get what? I get 15. Now we know that the ratio of A is to B is 2:5. So if B is equal to 15, A would be equal to how much? 6, right? So we multiplied both by 3. And similarly, we multiply 3 and 4 by 5 each to get 15 for B and the remainder for C. So if you multiply 4 with 5, what do I get? I get 20. So the ratio between A, B and C would be equal to 6:15:20. Just a small revision of what we did. We multiply the two numbers first, the common two numbers first, right? Whatever the upper number is, we multiply that with the lower number. We multiply the entire ratio with the lower number, and whatever the lower ratio is, we multiply that with the upper number to get the required ratio. This is how we solve these kind of questions. Let's move into the second question. Now P is directly proportional to Q and Q is equal to 7 when P is equal to 15. We need to find the value of P when Q is equal to 14, right? So P is directly proportional to Q, or we can write that P is equal to K into Q, where K is the constant of proportionality, right? Now when Q is equal to 7, P is equal to 15, so 15 is equal to K into 7, or the value of K is 15 by 7. We need to find out the value of P when Q is equal to 14, right? So we know that P is equal to K into Q. We know that Q is equal to 14, so P would be equal to K, that is 15 by 7 into Q, that is 14. Cancel off 7 and 14, that is 2, and you get the answer as 30. So the value of P when Q is equal to 14 is equal to 30. Right, let's move on to the next question. If A, B, C and D purchase a gift worth rupees 60, A pays half of what the others are paying, B pays 1/3 of what the others are paying, and C pays 1/4 of the others are paying. We need to find out what is the total amount paid by D, right? So to do this question, let us assume that the amounts paid by ABCD are ABCD. So the total sum would be equal to 60 because the total worth of the gift was equal to rupees 60. Now A pays half of what others are paying. Now what others are paying is B plus C plus D. If this is, let's say, X, the amount is equal to X, then A is paying half of that amount. That means A is paying half of X. Right? So what is the sum of A, B, C, D? It would be equal to X plus X by 2. Or this is equal to 60 as mentioned here. So the value of X would be equal to 40. What does that mean? That means half of X is equal to rupees 20. That means A is paying rupees 20. And similarly, you can find out the next sums, right? So B pays 1/3 of what others are paying. Let me assume that A plus C plus D are paying Y amount. Then B would be paying 1/3 of Y. Y plus 1/3 of Y would be equal to 60, right? So 4Y would be equal to 180, or the value of Y would be equal to 45. So ACD would be paying 45 in total, B would be paying 15, right? Now, what is the shortcut approach for these kind of questions? If you see very closely, if I'm paying 1 by tth amount or 1 by nth amount, let's say, here A paid how much? A paid half. So the amount would be equal to 1 by n plus 1 of the total amount, that is, let's say, T. So if A is paying half of the total of what others are paying, then the amount that A pays is 1 by 2 plus 1 into total amount, that is 60, which is equal to 20. B is paying 1/3 of what others are paying. So the amount B pays is 1 by 3 plus 1, whatever I have 1 by nth, increase n by 1, multiplied by the total cost of the gift, that is 15. What C is paying is 1/4, right? So the amount that C pays is 1 by 4 plus 1 into 60, which is equal to 12. So together they pay a total of 20 plus 15, 35 plus 12, 47. So the remaining amount of 13 rupees is paid by D. How to calculate that? Because the total amount was 60. So if we already know the three numbers, we can put these three numbers here and find out the value of D. This is the shortcut method to do these kind of questions, right? Let's move into the fourth question. Now, 10 people can cut 8 trees in 12 days, right? So let us write it out. 10 people can cut 8 trees in 12 days. In how many days would 8 people take to cut 6 trees? Now, to understand this, I hope you already know the MDH concept, that is man days hours concept. M1 into D1 into H1 divided by W1, that means doing a work of W1, would be equal to M2 into D2 into H2, doing a work of W2. Here W's mean work, M means the number of men working at the project, D means the number of days to complete the project, and H means the number of hours to complete the project. No? The hours are always calculated on a daily basis. Now there might be questions where you don't need to put in the hours, as in this question itself, there's no information in hours. So you can erase hours from both the side of the equation, which makes M1 into D1 divided by W1 to be equal to M2 into D2 divided by W2. Now, how many men are cutting? This is the first, this is the second scenario, right? So, number of men in the first scenario, 10. Number of days, 12. And what is the work done? They cut 8 trees. So, that is the work done. Should be equal to 8 people. So, number of men here is equal to 8. I do not know the number of days, so I'll keep that D. And the work is equal to 6. So, the value of D would be equal to 10 into 12 into 6 divided by 8 into 8. Let me cross this off. I have a 4, I have a 3 here, a 2 here. If I cross it off with 4, if I cross this off with 2, I have 3 and a 4 here. Again cancel this off, I have a 5 in the numerator, right? So in the numerator I have 5 into 9, that is 45. In the denominator I have 4, so I would be taking 11.25 days to complete the entire work. That is the answer for the question. So the MDH concept is a very important concept and a very easy concept to do these kind of problems. Let's move into the next question, and this, my friends, is a very nice one. Now a train approaches a tunnel AB, and inside the tunnel a cat is sitting at a point that is 3/8 of the distance of AB measured from the entrance A. Now when the train whistles, the cat runs. If the cat moves to the entrance of the tunnel A, the train catches the cat exactly as at the entrance. If the cat moves to the exit B, the train catches the cat exactly at the exit. We need to find out the ratio of the speeds of train and the speed of the cat. Now to understand this better, let me draw what's essentially happening. So let's say this is the tunnel that we are having. And the distance of the entire tunnel is taken as, let's say, 8x. Why 8x? Because calculating 3/8 of 8x becomes really easy. So you can take any number which is a multiple of 8, right? So this is the position where the cat is standing initially, that is A. Let this be the cat, and the distance from the entrance of the tunnel. Okay, the entrance is marked A, so let this be A. Let this be C. Let me assume that the position of the cat is C. Let the end of the tunnel be marked as E, right? So AC is equal to 3x because it's given that it's standing at 3/8 of the distance of AB. Okay, so this is also given B, right? So let us not take that as E but B, the tunnel. Let's take that as B. Right, now we have a train approaching, right? Let me draw the train here. So this is the train that's approaching and it whistles, right? Let this point be E. Right, now before I start off this problem, let me go to a very basic thing and want to tell you something very basic. Let's say this is your house, right? And you want to meet two friends. One of your friends live towards the east direction, one of them lives towards the west direction, right? Your speed is constant. You can travel at a speed of 2 km per hour, right? Your speed is constant. Let's say you go out of your home and then decide that you want to meet the friend in who lives in the east direction. Another point here to keep remember is the distance between the friend to the west and the friend to the east is same, right? The distance from both the friends is equal. Now if you take t hours to reach the friend towards the east, you would also take t hours to reach the friend towards the west if you started from the same point, right? So to cover the same distance with the same speed in two different directions, you would take the same time. This is something I wanted to tell you. Now let's focus on this problem. Okay, now when the train is at point E, the cat is at point C. So let me mark this out. Let this be the train's position. Let this be the cat's position. Right? When the train is at point A, the cat is at point A. So what is the distance traveled by the train? The train is traveling a distance of EA units, and the cat is essentially traveling a distance of AC or 3x units, right? Now, if the cat decides not to move towards the entrance of the tunnel but to move towards the exit of the tunnel, applying this concept, he would cover the same distance in the same time. So if the train now travels to EA, the cat now travels to a new point, let's say M, and the distance he would be covering would be cm or 3x from point C. Now if the cat now stands at point M, since the train already has traveled the distance of EA, the train now is at the entrance of the tunnel, right? The train is at the entrance of the tunnel. See, I did not do anything. I just made the cat go in the opposite direction, so everything remains same. The train was meeting the cat here, the train would come here. The cat was meeting the train here, but now he's going to the opposite direction, so rather than going 3x this side, he's going 3x this side, right? So this distance is equal to 3x. Now it's given in the question that if the cat moves towards the exit B, the train also catches the cat exactly at the exit, right? So the time taken for the cat to move this distance, the remainder of this is 3x, this is 3x, the entirety 8x, so this would be 2x. If the cat is traveling for 2x meters, the train would be covering the entire length of the tunnel, that is equal to 8x meters, because both of them meet at the end of the tunnel, right? So they are covering a distance of 8x is to 2x in the same point in time. So that means the ratio between the speed of the train and the speed of the cat is 8 is to 2 or 4 is to 1. So the answer for this question is 4 is to 1. Now what is a shortcut for this? A shortcut for this problem is when the so it completely depends upon the distance, of where the cat is in the tunnel. If the distance is A is to B, if the distance is A is to B, the ratio of train to the cat is equal to, so please understand this very nicely, it's equal to B divided by B minus 2A. This is the ratio between the train and the cat. It's B divided by B minus 2A. Let's see this one. Now Pranesh can do a work, right. Pranesh can do a work in 15 days. In how many days will the work be completed by his brother Saket if efficiency of Saket is 60% more than that of Pranesh? Now let me assume that the efficiency of Pranesh is, let's say, 10x. Then the efficiency of Saket would be equal to 60% more of that, or it would be equal to 16x. Now the ratio of efficiencies would be 10 is to 16, or essentially 5 is to 8. Now, if the ratio of efficiency is 5 is to 8, the ratio of time taken would be of the opposite ratio, right? Of the other ratio, that is 8 is to 5. And why is that so? It's because that time taken multiplied by the efficiency is the total work done. So since work is complete, time is inversely proportional to efficiency, right? So when P is equal to 10x and S is equal to 16x, and I'm talking about efficiencies, the time taken would be, for Pranesh it's equal to 15. I need to calculate that of Saket. And I know that T is inversely proportional to 1 by is inversely proportional to E, or T is proportional to 1 by E. So that means T is equal to K by E, where K is a constant, right? Okay, so if I say this as T1 is equal to K by E1, I can also write T2 is equal to K by E2, or K is equal to T1 E1. K is also equal to T2 E2. Since both are equal to K, we can equate these two. Now what is T1? Let Pranay be the one candidate and Saket be the second candidate. So T1 would be equal to 15, E1 would be equal to 10x, T2 I don't know, E2 is equal to 16x, so let me cancel off x. The value of T2 would be equal to 15 into 10 divided by 16. Let me cancel this out. I have a 5 here, I have an 8 here. That means 75 by 8 is the total number of days that Saket would take to complete the entire work, right? Okay, let's move into the next question. The height of a tree varies as the square root of its age. Okay, so the height varies as the square root of its age. Or essentially we can write that height is equal to k into square root of its age, where k is the proportionality constant. Now this only happens between 5 and 17 years. So if the question is asking you anything beyond 17 or before 5, you won't be able to answer, right? Now when the age of the tree is 9 years, the height is 4 feet. So 4 is equal to k into root 9, or the value of k is equal to 4 by 3. We need to find the height of the tree at the age of 16. So h is equal to k, that is 4 by 3, into the root of age, that is 16, or the value of the height would be equal to 4 by 3 into 4, or 16 by 3, which would come out as 5.33. So the answer for this question is 5.33 feet. Let's move into the next. Now the total expense at a hostel is partly fixed and partly variable. When the number of students is 20, total expense is 15,000. When the number of students is 30, total expense is 20,000. What would be the expense when the number of students is equal to 40? So it's given that the total expense of the hostel is fixed and variable. So it has a fixed component and a variable component. Now variable component, as we know, always depends upon the number of people engaged, right? So we can write this as fixed plus, let's say n, which gives me the number of students, and c, which is the cost per student, right? So this would be equal to n into c, and that is the variable cost. And when the number of students is equal to 20, the expense is 15,000. So 15,000 is equal to fixed cost plus 20 into cost per student. When the number of students is equal to 30, the expense is 20,000. So 20,000 is equal to the fixed cost plus 30 into C. If you subtract the first from the second equation, you get the value of 10C to be equal to 5,000. Now put the value of 10C in any of these two equations. Let's put it in the first equation. We get 15,000 to be equal to F plus 20C would be 10,000, right? So the value of F would be 5,000. Okay, we have the value of F, we have the value of 10C. What do we need to find out? What will be the total expense when the number of students is equal to 40, right? So the total expense would be F, that is 5,000, plus 10C. Okay, we need to find out the value of 40C. So 4 into 10C. So 5,000 plus 4 into 5,000, or 20,000 here, 5,000 here. So a total of 25,000 is the answer for this question, right? Let's move on to the next. The ratio of incomes of Mr. Vijay Singh and Mr. Arun Sharma is 3:5, and the ratio of the expenses is 1:3. We need to find out who is saving more. Now these kind of questions are very difficult to understand, and hence a proper way to do these kind of questions would be algebra. But let me also give you a shortcut for this question. Okay, so let's use the shortcut first. Now 3:5 is the ratio of incomes, right? So let me make an income tab, let me make a savings tab, and then we'll get the expenditure as well, right? Okay, this is Mr. Vijay, this is Mr. Arun. 3:5 is the income, so let's take the income as 3 and 5 respectively. Expense is 1:3, so let's take that as 1 and 3. If you look at savings, it would be equal to 2 for Mr. V and 2 for Mr. A as well. So the ratio of savings would be equal to 2:2 or 1:1. Now what if we take the ratio we take the income to be 30 and 50. Let's take the income to be 30 and 50 for V and A, and let's keep the expense same, that is 1 and 3, right? Now for Mr. Varun, he saves 29 rupees, while Mr. Vinay saves 29 and Mr. Arun saves 47. So now the ratio of savings is 29:47. Now here they saved same, here Mr. Arun is saving more. Now in one question there can be two different answers, right? There cannot be two different answers. So if here the savings were same, here as well the savings should have been same, but they are not. So we can say that we cannot essentially find out a correlation, a proper correlation between these two figures, we do not have further information. Hence, the answer for this question is cannot be determined. Right? Let's move into the next question. Now, this is a very nice question. ABC, so 13 people from A to L invested money in the ratio 12:10 is to 12:11 is to 10 to 1 during the period which they invested was in the ratio 1:2:3 till 12. There would be 12 people, there would be not be 13 people but 12 people, right? We need to find out who will obtain the maximum profit at the end of the year. So the money was invested in the ratio of 12 is to 11 is to 10 is to 9 is to 8 is to 7 is to 6 5 4 3 2 1 for a duration of the opposite duration, right? 12 11 10 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we know that the amount of profit always depends upon the invested money and the period for which it was kept. So it's always proportional to the product of these two. So let's find out the cumulative product. So this is 12, this is 22, 30, 36, 40, 42, and again 42, 40, 36, 30, 22, and 12. So the more to the middle you go, you can find that people are getting to save more, people are getting to invest more, I'm sorry, right? Now if people are investing more, their profits will also be greater. We need to find out who has the maximum profit at the end of the year. I can see that both these two people, uh, so if this is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, both these two people, F and G, are investing the maximum amount of money, and that is the reason that F and G would also be having the maximum profit at the end of the year. Okay, let's move on to this one. Right. So class consists of 20 boys and 30 girls. In the mid-semester examination, the average score of the girls was 5 higher than that of the boys. So let me take that the average of the boys is equal to, let's say, small b. So that would make the average of the girls to be equal to b plus 5. Right. So in the midterm, the total marks that they obtained was 20 into b plus 30 into b plus 5. Or essentially this would be equal to 50b plus 150. So what was the average of the entire class? The total marks divided by the total number of people, that is 50. So the average of the entire class average, would be equal to b plus 3. Now it's given in the final term, the average score of the girls dropped by 5. So it was b plus 5. It now becomes b plus 3, right? So girls average becomes b plus 2, I'm sorry, it drops by 3. It drops by 3, so b plus 5 minus 3 is b plus 2, right? And the average score of the entire class increases by 2. So the class average now becomes b plus 5. So what is the total sum or the total marks obtained by girls? It's equal to 30 into b plus 2, which is equal to 30b plus 60, and the total marks obtained by the entire class is 50 into b plus 5, which is equal to 50b plus 250, right? So the remainder amount of marks should be obtained by the boys, right? So the total marks obtained by the boys would be equal to 50b plus 250 minus the total marks obtained by the girls, that is 30b plus 60, or that would be equal to 20b plus 190. And this is obtained by 20 boys, right? It's obtained by 20 boys. So the average per boy would be equal to b plus 9.5. This is the average for one boy. Now initially the average was b, finally it becomes b plus 9.5. So the increase in average is of 9.5. So the answer for this question is option A. Right, let's move on to the next. Now A and B invest 12,000 and 16,000 respectively in the business. So we have two people, A and B. A investing 12,000, B investing 16,000 in a business. At the end of the year, they share a profit in the ratio of 3:1. If A had invested his capital for the whole year, we need to find out how many months has B invested his capital for. So the amount of months A had invested was equal to 12. Let's take the number of months to be equal to X for B. The ratio should be 3:1, right? The ratio should be 3:1. Okay, so what is the total investment made by A in the entire year? It would be equal to 12,000. I'm sorry, it would be equal to 12,000 multiplied by 12, that is 144,000, and that of B would be equal to 16,000 X, right? Now the ratio of these two numbers has to be equal to 3:1. Or if you cancel off the zeros first, and then I have a 9 here. So 9 by x is equal to 3:1, or the value of x is equal to 3. That means B invested his entire money for 3 months, and that is the answer for this question. Right? Let's move into the next. Now, three men are gambling in a casino royal. They start with sums of money in the ratio of 7:6:5 and finish with sums of money in the ratio of 6:5:4 in the same order as before. Okay, one of them won $12. How many dollars did he start with? Okay, and it's given that the three men gambled amongst each other only. Now, a very important point to know before you solve this question out is, let's say there are three people A, B, and C who are gambling within each other. At the start of the match, if they have $100 together, at the end as well, they would be having $100 because someone would win, someone would lose, but everything goes on between these three people. So the total amount of total amount between amongst these three people are going to remain same at the start and at the end. This is something you have to keep in mind for doing this question. Right? Now this starts with sums of money 7:6:5. So let me write that down. So there are, let's say the three men are A, B, C. He gets 7x, he gets 6x, he gets 5x. So the amount of money with A is 7 of the total is 7 by 15. Sorry, it would be equal to 7 by 18. That with B would be equal to 6 by 18. That with C would be 5 by 18. And I'm talking about ratio to total. Ratio of money that they have to the total amount, right? And so this was at the start. What happened at the end? They had monies in the ratio of 6y, 5y, and 4y. So what is the ratio to total? Ratio of the amount carried by these people to the total amount, that would be equal to 6 by 15, 5 by 15, and 4 by 15. Now if you look at these six numbers carefully, these three and these three, you see that for B it was 1/3 at the start, 1/3 at the end. So B here neither loses anything nor wins anything. Right? He neither loses nor wins. This is something you have to keep in mind. So that means if one person loses $12, one person wins $12, the other person has to lose $12 because B here is neither losing nor winning. Right? Because he is having the same ratio of the total amount. And I've already said that total amount remains same. So same ratio of total amount is also going to remain same. Right? Okay, so we have 7 by 18, 6 by 15, 5 by 18, 4 by 15. So let's check for A. Is 7 by 18 greater than 6 by 15? So let's subtract the starting money from, let's subtract the ending money from the starting money. The ratio would be equal to 90. So 35 minus 36. Yes. Since I'm having a negative number, that means the ending money with A is higher than what he started off with. So A won $12, right? So if A won $12, C has to lose $12. So C lost $12. What do we need to find out? We need to find out how many dollars did he start with. Okay, so I need to find out how many dollars did A start with, because we are talking about this person who won $12, huh? Right. So 1 by 90 of the entire is given as $12 essentially. So let's say if the difference is $12, if this is of T, this is also of T. So 1 by 90 of total is equal to 12, or the total amount is equal to 90 into 12, or 1080. 1080 is the total amount between these three people. I need to find out the amount that A is carrying. And A is carrying how much? 7 by 18 of the total amount. So 7 by 18 into 1080. Cancel this off. You have a 60 here. 7 into 60 is equal to 420. So the answer for this question is option B. Right? This was a nice question. Huh? Let's move on to the next. Now, three truck drivers, Amar, Akbar, and Anthony, stop at a roadside eating joint. Amar ordered 10 rotis, 4 plates of tarka, and a cup of tea. Akbar orders 7 rotis, 3 plates of tarka, and a cup of tea. Amar pays rupees 80 for the meal. Akbar pays rupees 60. Okay, let a roti be R, the price of one roti be R, that of one tarka be T, and one cup of tea is, let's say, let's take that to be equal to X, right? Okay, so 10R, I'm talking about Amar's order, 10R plus 4T plus X is equal to rupees 60. Sorry, it's given as 80, right? And Akbar pays how much? 60. And what does he order? 7 rotis, that is 7R plus 3 tarka plus 1 tea, right? This is what we know as of now. Now, if we subtract the second equation from the first, what do we get? I get 3R plus T to be equal to 20. This is the first equation. This is the second equation. Let's keep this as the third equation, right? Okay. Now, if we multiply the first equation with 7 and the second, let's say with 10, what do we get? We get 70R plus 28T plus 7X to be equal to 560, and 70R plus 30T plus 10X to be equal to 600. Subtract these two, I get the value of 2T plus 3X to be equal to 40. Right? Let this be 4. Now if I add 3 and 4, I get 3R plus 3T plus 3X to be equal to 40 plus 20 or 60, or the value of R plus T plus X to be equal to 20. What do I need to find out? I need to find out 5 rotis, 5 tarkas, and 5 cups of tea. So 5 into this. So 5 into this would be 20 into 5, or the total bill of 100. The answer for this question thus becomes option D. Right? Okay, let's move into the next. Mayank, Mirza, and Little and Jaspal bought a motorbike for $60. Mayank paid one half of the sum of the amounts paid by the other boys. Mirza paid 1/3 of the sum of the amounts paid by the other boys, and Little paid 1/4. We need to find out how much did Jaspal have to pay. Now, remember this as the question we did before, right? I also gave you a shortcut. Let's now use the shortcut and do this question really fast. So Mayank, he pays how much? He pays one half of the sum of the amounts paid by the other. So the total amount Mayank pays would be one half plus 1 into the total amount, that is 60. So 1/3 of 60, or $20. Then who do we have? This is Mayank. Then we have Mirza. Mirza pays 1/3. So amount that Mirza is paying is 1/3 plus 1 into 60. That is equal to $15. Then we have Little. And Little is paying 1/4 plus 1 of 60, that is equal to $12. So Jaspal would be paying the remaining amount. So 20 plus 15 is equal to 35, plus 12 is 47. The total amount was equal to 60. So from 60, 47 is already paid. The remainder of $13 has to be paid by Jaspal. So the answer for this question is $13, or option C. So now I hope you people are clear with the shortcut as well, and these kind of questions would at max take 15 seconds to solve to solve them out, right? So yeah, that was all about the 15 questions that I wanted to discuss with you. Please take care of yourselves and have a good day, guys. Bye bye.